Hey folks, it is the Nutty Knife Guy. Today, every knife in my collection, I think, more or less, part 1. Now, I'm probably going to miss some knives that are in my go bags, because I got them kind of stashed places, and I'm not going to go over the knives I wish I hadn't bought, because I did that in another video. I am breaking this up into part 1 fixed blades, part 2 folders. So this is going to be kind of a lightning round. I'm just going to show you the knives, say something quick about them, and keep going, or we'll be here all day. And you're going to see some budget knives, guys, here. So if you knife snobs out there have virgin eyes about inexpensive knives, tune out now. I'm not going to be giving model numbers because I won't be remembering them that quick. If you see something you like, try to give me a time reference, tell me in the comments, and I'll look up a model number for you. And these are in no particular order. First off, the Sentry. Oh, excuse me, this is the Combat Commander Sentry by United Cutlery. I'm not a big fan of United Cutlery, but this one came across swimmingly. I did do a full review of this on the channel. This kind of redeemed United Cutlery in my eyes, at least for the Combat Commander line, because this is a fairly decent knife. The next is the Ontario knives. And this one has a number on it. The SP, if I could read it, the SP3-95 survival knife. This was a gift from a friend. You can see it has seen some use over the years. I've had this for, I think, 15 or 20 years now. Ontario makes great stuff. I think every knife company out there should ask Ontario for permission to put these grips on their knives if they're meant for a tactical or bushcraft use. Next we have, isn't it cool the way I'm coming out of the camera and coming back? Cinematography at its best. This is the Cold Steel Kukri machete. Obviously, Cold Steel does really good stuff in these 1095 machetes. I've used this one too. I like this one is really fun to play with. Great little blade. Another Ontario SP6 Fighter. Again, love the Ontario grips. This is a classic. Have nothing bad to say about this knife. Got this one for Christmas this year. I would call this a usable wall hanger. It's pretty. It's very pretty. And this has come. This is from a company. Get ready. This is a mouthful. SWTJTWS. That's the name of the company, folks. It is fairly well constructed. It's thin for a kukri. You could use it. I'm not going to. I'm not even going to take it out to the war post. It is a gift, and it is very pretty. One of these days when I have a place to do it, I probably will actually hang this on a wall. The Cold Steel GI Tanto. I've got some grip tape on this. This has been a user. I've actually taken this on hikes and stuff. I have modified it. I've sharpened the false edge on it. Again, it's a Cold Steel 1055. Those were 1055 steel. This thing is almost indestructible. I've tried it. Then we have the K-Bar Dog's Head Fighter. This is essentially a regular old K-Bar fighting knife. Different guard, different pommel. That beautiful 1095 Pro-Van. Not a big fan. I've never been a fan of the round, smooth grips on these things. But K-Bar is an American classic. But I wanted, for my collection, I wanted something just a little bit different from the classic K-Bar fighting knife. USMC fighting knife. Okay. The Combat Ready brand D-Guard Fighter. I have done a review on this, so has Donnie B all day on his channel. It had passed our test, but we both feel that this is unreliable because of its construction is fairly poor. But it's an $11 knife, and I do really, really like this design. I love this design. It looks cool. I just wish it was made from better stuff. This is the ex-Gurkha Kukri House Jungle Kukri. Not to be confused with the Kukri House, which I'm going to be talking about in a minute. Ex-Gurkha Kukri House and Kukri House, both great companies. They make great stuff, but two different companies. This is 5160 steel made out of an old truck spring. It is direct from Nepal. This thing is just a chopping beast. It is a cutting terror. One of the favorite knives in my collection. Rosewood handles, slightly unconventional construction for a kukri because it is full tang, but she's a user. She's a beast. Piece of junk Walmart machete, $5, but it does do what it's supposed to do around the house. Enough said about that. This is a Frost Cutlery tactical Bowie. Again, a very inexpensive knife, like $20 or so. I like the look of it, and I was buying something else and decided to throw this in the cart. You know how that goes. And then we have another Ontario. This is an Ontario that I don't even think they make anymore. This is the Spec Plus SP13 Tonto. I have had this knife for 35 or 40 years. You can see it has seen a bit of use. I have taken this out camping, hiking, shit, things like that. When I was young and stupid, when I thought you held a knife in reverse grip all the way across your forearm like this, I was stupid and I cut off the rest of the handguard. One of my all-time favorite blades. And then we have the Blessed Warrior Fighting Knife. I had this custom made by the Kukri House, not the ex-Gurkha Kukri House, but the Kukri House in Nepal. I sent them detailed drawings and specifications. They came through with it swimmingly. The only reason I do not carry this every day is that my specifications made it a little heavier than I thought it would be, and I failed to give them good specifications on the sheath, so the sheath isn't really good for everyday carry. High quality sheath, they did great work on it, I just didn't tell them enough about what I wanted. Love this knife. Okay, gotta reach behind me here. This is like a Cisco Supplies, or however you pronounce it. Cheapy Bowie knife short sword thingy. Fun to play with. I do like this thing, but when I was out doing some fairly heavy chopping with it, I found out that the blade will actually turn like this in the grip. And I took it apart and I found out that the tang only goes about to here, and then the rest of it's a bolt and it's bolted on there. So I mean, it stood up really well. I was chopping some really heavy stuff with it, but it is not a bet your life blade, but it is a lot of fun. Okay, next up is the Bigfoot Bowie. The Bigfoot Bowie is a cool looking thing. Fit and finish are crap, are essentially crap. Budget blade. This big hunk of steel I think cost $23 if I remember right. But it is a lot of fun and surprisingly well balanced for a blade of this size. I can't say I'm sorry I bought this thing. I think it's cool, and I got it for the collection because it had the Raptor / Predator tip on it, and it looked good. And it's solid. I mean, I have done some fairly decent chopping with it. It holds up, but a lot of things were just uneven. You can see glue, and yeah, I reviewed this. You can go look. Okay, next is, this is another Combat Ready brand fighter, and of course it's a sub hilt. Anybody who's watched this channel knows it's a sub hilt, and I know I love sub hilts. This one I really like. It It's very solid. It went through all my tests and everything like that. It feels terrific in the hand. Can't really fault this blade all that much. Okay. Next is the Emtech. Does it have a model number that I can tell you on here? No. It's an Emtech, and a lot of the knife snobs are rolling their eyes. It's an Emtech. Cool looking thing, something like Klingon would carry. I have not taken this out to review yet. I should. I meant to. And to tell you the truth, I kind of forgot it was back there. But I like it. Feels really good in the hand, and it is solid. Emtech's quality control's hit and miss, but when they hit pretty well. Another Emtech. I'll tell you in a minute, old eyes. Emtech MT096. This is another one. Now, they have actually done a really good job of cloning the Ontario handles here. This feels really good. And I think this is meant to be kind of the answer of a really cheapo knockoff of a Randall Model 14. I have sharpened a swedge on this one too. But you can go on YouTube and look this up. You look that model number up, and this knife has taken ridiculous amounts of abuse of people. I really would have no problem taking this camping or hiking. Okay, now this is a beat up. You can see how much wear this one has taken. I've had this since I was 13 years old. This is the first fixed blade knife I ever owned. My mother bought this for me when I was 13 years old, and it showed me through many, many excursions into the wilds of Tuscarawas County, Ohio. Definitely not the best created knife in my best constructed knife in my collection. I really know nothing about it. It just says Japan on it. The leather sheath long ago wore out. But this is the most precious knife in my collection. Then we have a frost cutlery. This is definitely to be like an ornament. It is usable. It's pretty well constructed. I mean, it's frost cutlery, so it's not going to be the best materials or anything like that. But it feels really great in the hand. But it's pretty. It's not really meant to be used. I probably could. I just don't want to scuff it up. I have other knives that I can scuff up. And then we have the Tomahawk. I believe this is called a Bounty Hunter Machete. That's what they call it. I mean, obviously it is not ground like a machete. It's not really shaped like a machete. This is shaped more like a Filipino talabang short sword. This is really well balanced. I love swinging this thing around when I practice. I did just put a old bootlace on it because the handle had a tendency to make the hand slip all the way up to the hilt, and I didn't like that. This is like $23 for that price. I really should get another one, but I like it. Okay, then we have, whoops. Let's see if I can knock down the tripod here. Then we have a Schrade old-timer buoy. I did review this, and I actually broke it during the review, but that was my fault because I was over swinging, and I actually bashed it up against a metal anvil. Not a metal anvil, but a metal bench vise. But I got it straightened out pretty good. You almost can't tell. This was a find for $5 at a local pawn shop or flea market. No, it was a flea market. For that price, I really can't complain. It's got some good heft to it. I'm not a big fan of I don't know what this kind of handle is called, but it's like plastic bone stuff. But you could get worse. Schrade old timer. Okay, And we're almost, well, 1/3 of the way through this, folks. Once I get through this next batch, I'm gonna have to kind of rearrange, I think, so I can get to them. This is the Cold Steel OSS. Cold Steel, love them or hate them, they usually make good stuff. I have reviewed this one. It is a sub-hilt. I love sub-hilts. I don't know if you could actually count the rubber as a sub-hilt, but I do. It handled the testing pretty well. Now, on the review I did of it, I gave it glowing stars for performance. But after I did that review, I did notice that I had bent the tip slightly. It was easy to straighten, but it's a double-edged. This doesn't look like it would be double-edged, but this is double-edged, and I've done a whole video on double-edged knives having weak points. So it is what it is. Okay, next is a Smith & Wesson SW7. Now, a lot of people really malign knives that have gun company logos on it because they're not made by the gun companies. They're made wherever. This one's probably made in China. I EDC'd this as my personal protection fixed blade for quite a while, and I don't usually like to rotate my EDC stuff, especially guns. Let me get you back over here in frame. But with knives, I'm thinking about EDCing my personal protection knife back and forth just because I'm a knife guy and I want to carry this. I love the way it feels in my hand. It is very nimble for any kind of defensive work. I really like this one. This is another one I've had for a long time. This is an Explorer Tanto. Matter of fact, I bought this before I was really into knives. I've always liked knives, but before I really got into the collecting thing. I really don't know a whole lot about this. It is an Explorer Tanto. It is very thick. 440 stainless, according to it, made in Japan. I worked armed security for a while back at some metro housing complexes in major cities here in Ohio, and this was my last ditch, oh crap, I'm in a lot of trouble, personal protection weapon. I did not carry it as a boot knife. It comes with a sheath for the boot knife. I really don't like boot knives. I carried it concealed otherwise, but you can see it's been sharpened and resharpened. This thing was a standby for me for a long time. The Cold Steel Hideout. Again, something that I carried as a neck knife for a long time. Did a review on this called The Little Lifesaver. Called it a Little Lifesaver, and it could be. Cold Steel is hard to go wrong. This is another Supply by Supply, but it's Right Edge. Another impulse buy. Popped up when I was buying something else, I think on Amazon. I like the contracts of the face bone and the black blade. This could be a nice little trail knife, hunting knife, fishing knife. It would do you fine. Okay, we have a karambit here, the SOG, a SOG karambit. Model number, doesn't have one. Knife itself is okay. The sheath it came with was crappy. I ordered a knife, it broke. I was experimenting with this as an EDC blade. The sheath broke within 2 days. SOG did replace it with no problem for free, and the new sheath broke within 2 days. Decent knife, crappy sheath. Okay. The M-Tech. I think there's a model number on here. The MX, this is an M-Tech Extreme actually. The MX 4060, if I can read that little itty bitty print right. I'm pretty sure they ripped this design off the Bill Johnson fighters. But I really like this G10. Fit and finish had some minor issues, but for fighting, this would make a lousy bushcraft or camping knife. But for a fighting knife, this would do you fine. This is one of the knives I play with most often. Okay, and then we have a Boker Plus Magnum. Or no, Boker Plus. It's a Boker Magnum line, or Boker in 440C. One of their budget lines from Boker, but it's a Boker and it's still pretty good. Love the look of it. Got another recurve. I'm developing a real passion for recurves. And recurve sub hilts could like send me into nirvana. I'm going to review this one eventually. I haven't had this one that long. Very nimble, very easy to manipulate. Nice weight, a nice balance to it. So, yeah. Okay, and then we have. Let's see. I think this is the Timber Rattler Outlaw. Timber Rattler Big Ass Bowie knife. This thing has some weight to it. I don't believe I've reviewed this yet, but I'm not sure. If not, I will. This is a really nice knife. I think this is about 30 bucks. Good fit and finish. Really nice. This is a real chopping beast. I like the balance of it. Hard to go wrong for this much steel with that much money, and it's also pretty. And then we have the Schrade Uncle Henry 181UH. They call this a Bowie knife. This is not what I would consider a Bowie knife. I don't know exactly what kind of this style this is, but I just got this like last month and I really like it. It's got good balance, feels good in the hand. I love playing with this thing. It's got a nice bird beak on there. Not a huge fan of the fake bone. It looks good on this knife, but this is one of those knives, if you could get like the Spec Plus Ontario handles, ooh. Alright, and then we have the Ridge Runner, and I gotta, let's see, maybe this is the Outlaw. No, this is the Renegade. I'm pretty sure this is the Ridge Runner Renegade. Also, you find this made with other company brands on it. So, I think even Frost makes this, has this exact same knife with their name on it. Another one, it's a lot lighter than the Outlaw Bowie, but after all of this time, I'm getting a little bit of rattle on the handguard. Didn't used to do that, but it's still pretty solid and very nice looking, inexpensive. You could get away with using this in the field. Okay, gotta move a little bit. This is a Black Fox cutlery. They call this the European boar hunter, but it is actually very much like a Filipino Garab, if I'm pronouncing that right. Another recurve, nice wood handles. I just tied this in the lanyard hole. I don't like lanyards, but this one was kind of slippery and I was afraid it would slip. So I put those knots down there to catch on my knuckle. But this is a very nice blade. This was a $20 find at a pawn shop here in town. I'm not sure that the sheath it came with was actually the sheath that it originally came with, because it was a really crappy like vinyl junk. But the blade itself is outstanding. This is probably, I would say, in the top 10 of my favorites. Okay. I'm going to have to start stretching to reach these now. Okay, sorry for that delay, but I got to reach stuff. This is the timber rattler, timber wolf, one of those timbers, massive micarta buoy, and it is massive, but it is much lighter than it looks because the blade is relatively thin. Now I did review this. I destroyed some hostile vegetation in the yard with it. Did some shopping with it. I like the black and silver. It's a sub-hilt, which gives it points right there. I must, this is a decent knife, and this is another sub $30 knife. And then we have the Cold Steel Marauder. I did a review on this knife, sub-hilt. Cold steel. It's got a nice craton grip to it. I find it more than acceptable. But I have to say, I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to when I bought it. Then we have, I believe this is another timber rattler. This actually doesn't have any branding on it, but this is called the Daniel Boone buoy, and I liked it because I wanted a coffin handle buoy in my collection, and it had that nice rustic look. It had some decent file work. I don't like a lot of embellishing on my knife, but this file work works. This is apparently real brass or aluminum, but I think it's real brass because it's not magnetic. I checked. Nice pins. It's just a nice looking blade that also is, again, fun. A little bit slippery, and I wish the coffin handles would flare out more, but you can't have everything. Okay. I have to shift again to reach more knives. Oh, I forgot one. I forgot one in the other group. This is the Poshland. I can't remember what it is. I can't remember what model number, but if you like it, send me a timestamp on the video and I'll give you the model number and everything. I did review this knife. I really like this knife a lot. At first, when I got it, it didn't feel good in the hand, but when I got up and started moving with it, it felt really great. And it's a sub-hilt and it's a recurve. Yes. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay. The K-Bar Last Ditch Knife. The LDK, that's what they call it. Like a little keychain knife or anything like that. I carry a different small knife now, but I used to carry this with me everywhere I went. You could get pokey with it and discourage an ne'er-do-well. The Mora 125th anniversary companion. You can see the 125th anniversary on it. Got a little dust on it. I actually won this in a giveaway done by Mayor Fuglycool, so thank you again. As I said, this is a collector's piece, but it's a Mora. Mora has a huge reputation, a fantastic reputation. Just a general purpose run around camp knife, fishing knife, hunting knife. You can't get any better. Another combat ready last ditch bad guy discourager. I bought this just cuz. CRKT acquisition. EDC'd this for a long time. Might, if I do decide to start rotating my EDC, might go back to carrying this every once in a while. But for a small, thin, concealable personal protection or tactical knife, these are fairly inexpensive. I think this was like $40, and it comes with a good sheath. I have actually recalling fondly how much I like this knife. Okay, Smith & Wesson boot knife. This is the HRT. Really nothing to write home about this knife. The sheath was The knife is but and it's not double-edged. It looks like it, but it's not. I mean, it's passable as a backup personal protection tool. We have got the MTech USA MT665 Karambit. Fun little blade. It does feel good in the hands. The sheath is configured absolutely wrong to be carrying a for a Karambit. What can you do? But the knife itself is decent. Not fantastic, but decent. And then we have the the Combat Ready brand Karambit. I actually like this a lot. The sheath was decent. This would be for a good, if you're a concealed carrier or even law enforcement, a firearm retention knife. Somebody tries to grab your gun, you encourage them to let go, / or in case of lizard man zombie ninjas. Pleasantly surprised by this, and this is why I was kind of disappointed in that D-Guard Bowie by Combat Ready, because a lot of these other Combat Ready knives are actually pretty decent for the price. I am going to have to completely reconfigure here to get to the rest of my collection, so I think I'm going to have to splice this. Let me set up again, and I will be right back. Okay, going to do the rest of this stand up real quick, and if I didn't say so at the beginning, I am not going to be doing the knives I wish I hadn't bought, because I did the knives I wish I hadn't bought in a video on their own. So that's why they're not going to be in here. First off is actually a cheap Ninja Toe sword, and actually, if you look at the historical record, the straight Ninja Toe really didn't exist. But I found this with no handle on it or anything at a pawn shop up here. He wanted like $3 for it or something, or was it a flea market, something like that. So I just bought it home, and I found a couple of pieces of plastic that were the stand from an old piece of luggage we had around here. Pried them off, Gorilla glued them on, and did a little cord wrap myself. This is actually really fun just to go outside and swing around and train with. Then we have this thing. It is a kind of an embellished medieval dagger. I never bought this intending to use or train with it. I am a published author. The book I'm about to tell you about is, well, one of the books is available on Amazon. Shameless self-promotion. The Blessed Warriors. Well, actually, it is called 7th Blessed Warriors, Book 1. And I bought this just as kind of a inspiration piece while I'm writing. If I get stuck or I'm just taking a break, just have this out. This is the type of thing you would find in that book. Then we have another MTech that I kind of bought was just because it was pretty, but this is a nice little, if you just need a trail knife or something like this, the sheath is adequate for that. Just a nice little handy kind of do-it-all length, nice jimping little trail knife. Bought this one just because basically I like the looks. It's got kind of a Middle Eastern feel to it. This is actually, I guess the company itself actually calls itself Pakistan. It's made in Pakistan, of course. Just a nice looking little number. This one is a Barnstar dagger, is what it said on the package. Of course, it's not a dagger. It is a survival camping trail knife. You can see the scratches on the blade. I've done a little with it. The saw blade does work, which is a rarity on most knives that have this type of thing. Really nice balance to it. $10 at Tractor Supply about 10 years ago. This is a Ridge Runner. I don't know, do they have the name of it on here? No, this is an Elk Ridge. Sorry, Elk Ridge. Some dust on this one. I don't get these out as much. This is kind of the second tier of my collection. I have questions about whether this is full tang or not. Double-edged, and I'm not crazy about double-edged, but it does look pretty cool. And it's got this nice coffin handle on it. Good looking knife. Not bad at all. Then we have a Mossy Oak Tanto, $10 impulse buy at Walmart. United Cutlery Honshu imprint, push dagger, complete piece of crap, but looks good, and I did finally manage to get an edge on it. This is an M-Tech Miss. The other M-Techs I showed you were hits. This is an M-Tech Miss. This was kind of crappy. It is kind of fun to swing around when I get around to playing with it. It had a stupid little compass in the stock for some reason. The first thing I did was smash that out of there. Then we have a Cisco Supply Renaissance dagger. This is usable, but again, this was kind of a mood piece for Blessed Warrior, and I just like the way it looked. I like this. This is a well done fake bone. It looks good. And okay, except for the ones that the knives that I really dislike, and I keep in the bowels of my collection in the dark where they belong. That's more or less my fixed blades. Now I do have, I got this one. I do have this Camelus. Of course, everybody knows that Camelus is not the company it was back in the 40s and 50s, since this is basically just another Chinese knife that put a once well-respected brand name on it. But this is another $10 buy at Walmart. Not too bad. I have another one of these in a go bag. And I also, just kind of honorable mention, I'm not going to get it out, but I also have a Gerber Frontier Scout in a go bag. Okay, that's it. Most of my fixed blades, at least the ones that I remember. There might be some hanging. Oh, yeah, I know there. Matter of fact, I know there is. Just a second. Can't believe I almost did this. The reason this wasn't actually with the rest of my collection, because I was playing with it last night. The Gil Hibben tactical assault knife. Not tactical, and it hasn't assaulted anybody. But this is a sub-hilt fighter. This is probably number 1 or 2 of my all-time favorite knives. Possibly, it's definitely in the top 5. Okay. Oh, and then I don't have it up here because I'm not carrying all my stuff, but I also have my Orella Tanto that has been my personal protection fixed blade knife that I carry every day, but it's upstairs and it's downstairs, and I'm downstairs because I haven't gone out today. Oh, but see, I keep remembering knives, folks. When I'm not carrying my Orella on my belt, I'm carrying my Cold Steel Spike on my neck. So I almost forgot a couple of very important entries here. But I'm not going to see if I can remember any more knives now. We'll be here all day. That's the bulk of my fixed blades. Next video, I'll show you my folders. With that, I do admonish you to draw your knives only in just purpose. Sheathe them only with honor, and to remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. Please like, share, and subscribe. I really love that. I am now currently up to 78 subscribers. Woohoo! That's a lot for me. It makes me happy. Thank you all for the people who's recently subscribed. I bid you good day.